Hello YouTube, this is the D.B.T Show, episode 172. Now, back in E3 2009, I saw a lot of impressive trailers at the Nintendo press conference. And one of the most impressive trailers I saw was for Metroid Other M. As soon as I saw this trailer, I was super psyched to play this game. I really couldn't wait to get my hands on this thing. And when I finally got my hands on this thing in autumn of 2010, I really enjoyed this game. I enjoyed every single moment of this. This is definitely one of the best Metroid games I've ever played. So, let's start this review. Right, okay, that's my camera setup. So let's start the review. Now for this review, YouTube, I'm using pre-recorded footage and also live footage. The live footage will come later in the review. Now let's begin with the review. The story for this game is pretty good. I found the story very gripping. Basically, Samus is in her spaceship one day and she receives a distress call called Baby's Cry. And after following the distress call, she reaches a space station called the Bottle Ship. Now, the first time I saw the Bottle Ship, it reminded me a lot of the space station in Metroid Fusion. And as she's exploring the Bottle Ship, she finds that the Galactic Federation are there. And she does a bit more exploring, and she comes across some of her old friends. Adam Malkovich and his crew. Him and his crew are investigating the Bottle Ship because something has happened there. Don't quite know what yet, but something has happened there. And whilst Adam Malkovich and his crew are investigating the Bottle Ship, Samus decides to stay around just in case anything bad happens. And sure enough, something really bad happens. Whilst the team and Samus are searching the Bottle Ship, one of Adam's team becomes a traitor and starts killing off each one of Adam's team members one by one. And Samus christens this team member, who starts killing everybody, the Deleter. Throughout the game, the Deleter kills off each of your team members one by one, and the story builds up to an interesting climax, which builds quite a lot of tension, and as I played through the game, I was always wondering, who the hell is this Deleter who's been killing all my friends? Towards the end of the game, you can kind of figure out who the Deleter was, but it's never really 100% clear. But all in all, it's a very good storyline. The storyline had a lot of nostalgic references. It reminded me a lot of Metroid 1, Metroid 2, Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion. So there's a lot of nostalgic references in there. Especially in the cutscenes that tell stories about Samus's past. The graphics of this game are very good. The Nintendo Wii looks like it's been pushed to its absolute limits here. So, major props to the guys who did the graphics. Controls for the game. Well, the controls for this game are very simple and very easy to learn. Most of the time, you hold the Wii remote sideways. 2 button jumps, 1 button fires, hold down the 1 button to charge shot as well, plus button pauses, minus button doesn't do anything, home button takes you back to the Wii menu of course, A button transforms to Morph Ball, and the D-pad moves you around, that's it. Now when you're in first person mode, B button locks onto targets, and A button fires. You can also use the B button to pivot and turn around and aim at targets all at once. When you're in first person mode, you can only do 3 things: launch missiles, pivot, or scan enemies. You can also dodge when the left and right of the screens flash, but it's a little bit difficult to work with. Samus has some new abilities as well this time around. If you jump down into an area where there's a wall on the left hand side, a wall on the right hand side, you can kick climb to get back up. That's a very cool and useful new ability. And when your ability you got is called a sensor move. Basically, if an enemy comes towards you and starts shooting lasers or starts charging at you, you can do a backflip, a roll, a front flip, or you can chain multiple rolls and dodges together to dodge the enemy's attacks. It's really, really useful. And then when your ability, which I really, really liked, was the lethal strike and the overdrives. The overdrives are basically moves that can deal serious damage to enemies, or sometimes even an instant kill. They're kind of like some of the special moves that Dante can pull from Devil May Cry. So I really like the lethal strikes. And throughout this review I will be showing off several lethal strikes because they are so fucking cool. Nothing better than taking out your arm and shoving it right up down an enemy's throat and blasting their brains out. And that's all we want to say about controls, YouTube. One more thing before I go into music. The game is fitted with an auto-aim feature. So, when you're running around got the controller hold sideways, your targets will never miss. There is the odd occasion where you will miss, but the auto-aim is pretty much perfect and it's deadly accurate. Now to music. The music for this game is very, very good. I really like the music. The game has a wide range of tracks, from atmospheric, sad music, happy music, and just plain awesome music. It's got some of the best music is the fast-paced music. I really like the fast-paced music. It gives you a real adrenaline rush. Another thing I really liked about this game was the voice acting. Jessica Martin did a great voice for Samus Aran. I really liked her voice. It was quite interesting to listen to her when she was doing the monologue scenes, because I don't really know much about Samus since his past. So it was quite interesting for me to play this game because I was able to learn more about the character, and the game definitely gave me an insight to that. Another voice actor I really liked was the guy who played Anthony. Anthony's this black guy who's really cool. He reminds me a lot of Will Smith, and one of my favourite lines from him is this: "Hey punk, don't you know how to treat a lady?" I just really like him. He's probably my favourite character in the game as far as voice acting is concerned. He has a lot of really funny lines. Let's go into gameplay. The gameplay for this game is also really good. It's a 3D adventure game. The game itself takes about 10 to 15 hours to beat. It's quite a long game. Okay, good stuff about this game. Well, the good stuff about this game is definitely the story. The gameplay is excellent. The cutscenes are extremely well done. I think Nintendo has hit the overdrive switch on the Nintendo Wii here, because some of these cutscenes are absolutely stunning. I mean, a lot of people say the Nintendo Wii pales in comparison to the 360 and the PS3, but personally, I think the Nintendo Wii is capable of very good graphics and very good cutscenes. And this game definitely proves that point. There are some cutscenes which certain fans have a few issues with. There's one cutscene in the game where Samus starts crying just because she's Ridley. Personally, I have no problem with this cutscene because Ridley's a fucking dragon and he does look kind of menacing. When I was on YouTube the other day, I saw a lot of people ranting about Metroid saying it's a bad game, but the only thing that people really seem to complain about is the way that Samus turned out. Personally, I have no problem with the way that Samus turned out, and I really like this game. Another thing I like about this game is the bottle ship. The bottle ship is absolutely fucking huge. It's one of the biggest areas I've ever searched in a Metroid game. It's kind of easy to get lost sometimes. The game is set on a linear path, and once you've completed a certain part of the game, you will be able to go back and pick up some power-ups, but most of the time you are set to a linear path, so Sometimes it's easy to tell where you need to go, sometimes it isn't. Another thing I really liked about this game was the first person mode. If you hold the B button down and point it at an enemy, you can scan bosses for see how much health they got left. That was a really useful mechanic because some of these bosses seem to take forever to beat. Another thing I really liked was the map screen and the status screen. Just give me a moment and I'll talk about that. Right, let's talk about the status screen, YouTube. The status screen does several things for you. After you beat the game, you can check how many power-ups you've got in a certain area. There are 5 areas in all. Sector 3 is a fire area, Sector 2 is an ice area, Sector 1 is a sort of jungle area. The main sector is a space station, and the Bio Research Centre is a very small laboratory where you don't really find that much stuff. It's mostly story related, that area. Stats. Throughout the game you collect several power-ups. 2 power-ups are very important: Excel charges and energy parts. First, let's talk about Excel charges. Excel charges are very important because they do 3 things. 1, they decrease the time you need to charge up to reload missiles. 2, they decrease the time that you want to recharge your health. And they also decrease the time it takes to recharge your charge beam. So they're very, very important. Throughout the main game, you can get about 5 of them. And once you get onto the after game, for the extra bit of the story, you can cut this final one. So the Excel charges are very useful, and I do suggest when you're playing this game, you get at least 4 of them before you beat the main story. Next thing I want to talk about YouTube is the energy parts. The energy parts are pretty much the same as heart pieces in Zelda. Collect 4 energy parts, you get an extra energy tank. You can also get energy tanks on their own, but more than common than not, you'll find energy parts and energy tanks. There are 16 in the game in total. Throughout the game, you collect several weapons. You got normal beam, which you get from the start. The ice beam freezes enemies for you. The wave beam can fire through glass and transparent objects. It's very, very useful. It's pretty powerful. It's one of my favourites. Plasma beam. Probably the most powerful weapon in the game. Is definitely gives the enemies a good kicking. All the beams sort of combine together in this game, kind of like I did in Metroid Prime 3. So once you get the wave beam, the ice beam's ability still sticks around. Same as with all the other beams. The diffusion beam, one of my most favourite weapons of the game, because when you fire up a charge shot, it splits around and kills off multiple enemies on the screen, so it's very, very useful. Grapple beam, very useful to get those hard to reach places and to get to those hard to reach items. Missiles next. Non-missiles, pretty useful. There are 70 to collect in the game in all. You start off with 10. Super missiles. They're very, very useful, and they're one of the most powerful weapons in your arsenal. This is probably the Achilles heel of most of the enemies, because nothing says you die now like a super missile to the face. Seeker missiles, they're one of my favourites because you can take out multiple targets and also very big doors. Anyway, YouTube, I've run out of time. In the next part, I hope to finish off the review. Until then, bye.